Okay, I'm going to make one more tape because this is one story that I really had. Okay, here's one of his contradictions. Because he said specifically that to judge, the judger is a downdrafting way, and yet what he did is he judged this guy to be doing more harm to his daughter than his son ever could. What a judgment statement that was. It's like I would be so offended if I had concern for my daughter, regardless of what the story was. If I had some guy, especially an educated psychologist, judge me, push his bullshit thinking on me that I'm doing harm to my daughter, that would do so much harm to me. I would be influenced by his negative thinking, his negative judging that caring for my daughter was a wrong thing to be doing. Like it was just, I'll keep reading, but ultimately you'll see that the problem got resolved by the doctor's daughter and not by him. But I'm going to read it because this one is really important. I'll read it again. You are doing far more damage psychologically to her right now than my son ever could. Dr. Wolf, you're human. You downdrafted and you put it in a book. Okay. Now his daughter was 13 and she was standing about 15 feet away from the sidewalk crying. She had her summer shorts and one leg of her shorts was pulled up, exposing a big birthmark about 6 inches across. My 15-year-old son was nearby his bike. As I look at him, he raised one eyebrow and gave me his look and said, "These guys are nuts, Dad." We looked at the daughter and she is immediately stopped crying. Come to find out, because she was new in the neighborhood, she had wanted to show two young girls her dreaded birthmark as a sign of confidence in getting to know them. And as she was showing the girls her birthmark, my 15-year-old son drove by on his bike, looked down at the birthmark, looked at her, went, and rode right by her. She was so embarrassed that a handsome older boy should have seen her birthmark. She thought her whole social life had just gone down the drain. She went into hysterics and ran to her father. He did not know what the problem was, but that it had something to do with my son. So he took her by the hand and he marched right over and pounded on my door. Now my 19-year-old daughter had had a birthmark removed from her leg. She was gorgeous and had sung and danced on a stage over half the world. She came out and said, "Birthmark, birthmark." She took the girl under her arm, walked down the block with her, and explained how she once had a birthmark and what she had done about it. They became good friends and good neighbors. So the stage of development at which you approach any kind of interaction will unfold for you the particular lessons it has to teach you. For each stage of development has value, and every choice has its lesson. You must learn the lessons before you can move on to the next stage. The wonderful thing is that you get to choose when and how to learn these lessons. I'm pretty sure it would have been a lot less offensive if they simply said, "What's the problem?" Not telling the guy and judging the guy, a psychologist saying, "You are the worst father." I would have said, "My God, you're a great father to have so much passion to care for your daughter. What's the problem?" That would have probably diffused the situation. And I'm pretty sure there's a hell of a lot more to the story that ain't being revealed. But it was the daughter that overheard the argument that ain't being fully explained here, that heard the word birthmark. She took in and ended up just give the problem some information. So there's an example of Dr. Wolf himself being human like the rest of us. And even though you know this shit, it's really, really hard to walk the right walk. But I'm really, really not critical of Dr. Wolf, just sort of pointing out how we are human. And I think that that is a really positive thing, to see how somebody that's so friggin' genius mind can screw up the same as the rest of us. So I don't think it's a negative thing. I hope he doesn't see it as a negative thing, because I think it was the most positive thing that we could see, is that see the perfections in imperfection. And I think it's just perfect to see somebody with this kind of mind be just as flawed as the rest of us. And there's perfection in that, because it's sort of like, don't take yourself so seriously. The interest wave. Einstein once said that if you could truly focus your interest for 3 minutes, you would be a genius, able to solve any problem. You can see that this is so if you think of interest in quantum terms. Interest represents the ebb and flow of concern, focus, attention, passion, or curiosity, which is the sum total of all the holodynes of the holodynamic plane of your mind. Interest comes in waves, accumulations of all the holodynes that are active at any given moment in your mind. I have represented interest in the mind model as a wave passing through the center of the mind cube. The interest wave is one way to show how the unmanifested quantum wave makes itself felt in the physical world. It is controlled in size, shape, and frequency by holodynes on the holodynamic plane. The more mature holodynes, the greater their capacity to influence quantum wave and to tap into the quantum force. So this is the example of that wave. In the realm of quantum thinking, the unmanifested quantum wave contains all specific potentials, quanta, within it. It contains all things possible, but as yet unrealized. This is why some physicists call it the offer wave. It is, in reality, a wave of unlimited potential. Now, the quantum or offer wave can be compared to a great sea of possibilities, a sea of pure, clear water and physical reality of any given circumstances, to a cup of water from the sea. When you focus on the sea of possibilities, when you dip in your cup and lift it to your lips, you collapse the entire sea into your cup. You quench your thirst, and with one particular cup of water, and with no other that could have been. The possibility of potential you choose becomes, by your choosing it, a unique and unrepeatable reality. The role of I. Your I has the ability to go back and forth between the manifested and unmanifested planes. Whether you focus on, choose, or specific potential, your I sees if your choice is aligned with your fullest potential, and if so, carries your focus through the quantum wave. The quantum wave responds to your I by setting up what is called the echo wave, which then goes into the past, present, and future, checks out the boundary conditions, and determines if your specific potential can actually become real. The echo wave seems to be the intuitive wave, function of every I in every dimension, past, present, and future. It's as though all the I's know one another and acting together either agree or don't agree to allow your potential to become real. If all the boundary conditions are met, the answers come back. Okay, what you want can now become reality. Now, when I was experiencing all of these impossible challenges, that it goes against this thinking that, yeah, it's true what he is saying, but at the same time, it was a belief in something that I didn't know. When the airbrush broke, and it was like, okay, God wouldn't show me I had that talent and just take the tools away. I was in a comical, right-brained, I was doing art, and I just came up with the words, God's mailing me an airbrush. I had so much fun with that statement that the energy involved, it was like there was no doubt. God was mailing me an airbrush. It was like there was more situations for me to say that statement over and over and over again, and within 2 weeks an airbrush was mailed to me. Same with a house. No credit, nothing. I just believed without a doubt that I was going to get a house. No credit, no savings, living in low-income housing, no income. Everything was going against me. The universe was all against me. There was no information there that would confirm, okay, this makes sense, you're going to get a house. it was just this all-knowing belief that just overcame me that I just can't explain. There was just a zero doubt. There was this ain't not gonna work. Similar to this project that I'm working on, is like I don't really have a doubt that it's massive what I want to accomplish, but I have zero doubt. I know it's going to unfold. It's just a matter of time, but it will happen. And the more the world um, doesn't believe in me, and I fall into that, I believe that energy, then I lose power. But it goes to when somebody can doubt you, and you're like, I don't give a shit, it's happening anyways, then that's when you give it power, is when all of the universe says it is impossible, but you believe without a doubt it's possible, to the point where it's like, yeah, wait and see, this is going to happen. And it's like, and you have zero doubt within yourself. That's when it happens. And trust me, the wildest thing is everything in your universe will say it can't happen. And yet when you have that belief in it, it's so strong to your core, is when it actually gets created. So until then, that's what you are working on, is developing that belief in something. And then when you develop it, because you've set these rules in your life that says this is going to happen, this is going to happen, and this is going to happen, so okay, 1 + 1 = 2, it should happen. But there is this magical world that you don't need to know how it's going to happen. You just know without a doubt, and it's that doubt that creates it. But that's where you explore. If it's not happening today, then look at yourself and find out what that doubt is, because that doubt will give you have a rule that says that it won't work out. So that's why I've been challenged. Everything that I'm doing so far isn't unfolding perfectly right now, because I do have some doubts. And it's those doubts that I have to slowly become aware of them and transform them and say, well, that doesn't make any sense from my past experiences. It's like if the whole entire universe doubts me, it's like, hey, that's where I've always gained my biggest strength, is when you doubt me. So why is it I'm being fooled into believing that there should be something that's doubt? Because it's so big, it's so massive, everybody's so angry. Nobody wants to fund solutions. Like, there's so many rules and regulations that are influencing me, mostly because I'm hypersensitive right now. More hypersensitive than I was in the past. Back then, I didn't give a shit. Now I do. And it's really, really important to me. And the fact that I care so much and I'm hypersensitive, it does tend to influence me. So there's a little part about that little reality. It is because the I approves all of our experiences that there are no victims. Every experience you have ever had has been approved by your I, your full potential self, and by every other I. Putting it all together, as information is received and relied by your senses, your central nervous system organizes and codes it for transmission to your brain. Senses, which are particle, focus and send information to the left hemisphere and your brain for rational processing. Senses, which are wave focus, send information to the right hemisphere for intuitive processing. The sensory input is then stored within the protein strings of your brain as living multidimensional images called holodynes, which interact on your holographic plane. Here your mind accepts and aligns these holodynes and files them for future use according to the deep underlying order of life, the implicit order. This deepest order arranged all holodynes into the 6 natural stages of development for the human mind. All your family and cultural beliefs are stored within your memory banks of holodynes. Your mature holodynes naturally align themselves with each other and become available for use when you choose mature actions. Your immature holodynes likewise align themselves so that you have a wide variety of alternative responses, both mature and immature, to any given circumstances. So I'm going to leave that off for today and continue, and love you for reading this and being part of my community of change, because we need change and we all have to participate. So follow me, follow your intuition, follow your voice, unfold your full potential. What is your dream? Peace out.